Okay, I just pressed record, and everyone who's been on before knows the rule. Only I can curse because we're being recorded. So this is a great episode. Dr. Cody Sipe is here with us talking about brain fitness, brain health. We were just chatting before we officially got started about Cody and Dan's. It was really your second certification. I think you had one in another state, but we went viral. Like we sold out. I stopped. I said, no, we can't. I didn't know you and Dan that well, so I didn't know you were so great and you could handle 65 people. So I'm like, no, stop. And it was fabulous. And then we worked with you, helping you plan the next 3 or 4 summits. One of them was at the Sheridan in Phoenix, and I don't want to say the rest is history because there's sure more to come. But you're world global wise, and I want you to tell more about a little bit about that. And now you're with ISSA as well as the co-founder of FAI. So a quick bio, and this is a short bio, and I know it really probably should be 2 pages long because Cody is pretty fabulous. Dr. Cody Sipe is an award-winning fitness professional, educator, researcher, author, and expert on older adult fitness. He currently serves as full professor in the doctoral physical therapy program at Harding University and CEO of Marbles Brain Body Fitness, the first of its kind brain gym franchise in the US. He co-founded the Functional Aging Institute, FAI, which I talked about, and is on the editorial board of the Journal of Aging and Physical Activity. Makes me a little tired there, Cody. So anything else you want to say about yourself before we dive into the topic?
No, you can keep talking about how great I am if you want. I mean, I don't mind. I'll take it.
Well, we are looking forward to seeing you in 2 weeks, in exactly 2 weeks. And we'll talk about that at the end of the show. But you are doing a great brain fitness pre-conference, pre-cert, and you are also you're part of the roundtable, and we'll list this all. But and then you've got 2 great workshops, and I don't know if you know this, but your workshop that is 10:25 in the morning on April 4th, how to the strength and power training for functional longevity. It's the highest number of all the workshops, and we have like 40
We'll
or 50
it.
workshops. Yeah, so
it's a fun one. It's a fun workshop.
it is a good one. Oh, yeah, good. Hi, Susie. Good to see you.
Hey, Janice.
Yeah, all right. And Joan's here. Good to see some familiar faces. And so, Cody, let's dive into brain fitness. And obviously, dementia, Alzheimer's, decline in our memory is so prevalent, and it's not this is new, but I think what is, I'm going to use the words cutting edge, is like you've created a certification, you've created a program and steps to work to help people. So tell us about that. Tell us just a little bit more about your philosophy and how you got into all this.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, we try to stay ahead of the curve, right? That's the whole point, is to not kind of talk about what is current necessarily, but prepare people for these are the things that are coming. This is how you prepare yourself to continue to be successful now, get ahead of everybody else. And if anybody has taken our functional aging specialist course, right, we have a model, and it's the domains of fitness, 6 domains of fitness. And so we talk about things like strength and power, and balance and mobility. But one of those domains is cognition, right? Is cognitive fitness. And what we see now is, as you said, the writing is on the wall with not only the growth of the older adult population, but the aging of the older adult population. That's really a key. We see 2 things that are really starting to rear their heads that are becoming an issue, and they're going to become an issue quickly. One is falls, because fall rates are going up. And the other is dementia or cognitive impairment, any sort of cognitive decline, right? So those are 2 big ones. And I don't know if anybody saw this, but actually recently at the World Economic Forum, they actually put out a report that, guess what, brain health is the next thing that we got to try to conquer in the next 10 to 20 years because of the aging population, because the rates of dementia and decline are just what we're seeing in the future is not good. right? And so everybody wants their brain really to stay as sharp as possible, even more than their bodies. And you see this
Yeah.
in surveys, right? You ask people, what's your greatest fear? It's, well, I don't want my brain to run out before my body does.
Right.
That's kind of like the worst situation, right? I would like to have
Yeah.
my brain and my body be awesome and then be done, right?
Right.
And
But if I
so,
have a choice, let my
yeah,
body go, right?
and
That's
so
what they
what
are
we see is
saying.
that's
Yeah.
possible. The research has really opened up our eyes about what is potential as we get older, not what is normal or typical, but what is possible. And it's all about what we do with our brain and our bodies every single day. So that's what this course is built around. It's built around diving into some of the research, coming up with the evidence, but then also applying it in some very practical ways for people that are in different, I want to say, environments, right? So if you're a group exercise instructor, how you apply it to a group may be different.
Yeah.
If you're versus a personal trainer or a club operator, like if you're a for-profit club operator, that might be a little different. If you're a retirement community, it might be a little different. So we talk about the options for how do we apply what is really has been shown to be the absolute most effective strategy for improving cognition, building cognitive reserve, and that is dual tasking. And so we go through kind of the research. All exercise is good, like all bodily movement is good, but there's kind of a hierarchy of this is good, but this is a little better, and this is a little better, and kind of getting to this is the best. And so we kind of lead you through that process, and we also help people to understand the brain a little bit better, because this was one of my issues. I got to be honest, right? For years, I avoided the brain stuff because I just thought it's too
It's
complicated.
overwhelming.
Like, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
like, I'm
right.
not a
Yeah.
neurologist. The brain is just a mystery to me.
Yeah.
And so I literally avoided it for a long time until finally I was like, no, this is too important, right? It's we see it coming. And so I really dove into the neuroscience and the other aspects to learn it myself. And hopefully what we've done, especially in this course and in all my presentations, we hit on that enough to give you an understanding, but not too much that you walk out of there going, I have no freaking idea
Idea
what
what to
you
do
just talked
next. Yeah.
about, right? That's
Yeah,
not how.
right.
So that's kind of how we lead you through it.
Yeah. So in your brain fitness pre-cert on April 3rd, we're going from 8:30 a.m. to 12:30. Still time to sign up, everybody. So you go through some concrete tips and steps of what dual tasking, for example, and
Yes.
Jan has taken
Mm.
your certification at IDEA. She's on our call here, and I know her and I I'm her business coach, so we talk about this dual tasking stuff all the time, and she's in the thick of it. I mean, she's coming to your course again because she's just wants more and more and more. She's in the thick of working with this dual tasking and working with she works with through the city of Phoenix right now with real clients. And also what she's going is like different people come all the time like, whoa, wait a minute, I got to change this up a little bit. Oh, wait a minute, this person is further along in their memory. So you've talked about dual tasking is, but like, can you tell us anything else about, maybe give us a little nugget about a dual tasking task for clients or students? You can say
Yeah,
clients or students because yeah.
it's as simple as it is complex, right? So dual tasking is basically you move and you do something with your brain at the same time.
Yeah.
Right? So I have a physical challenge and a cognitive challenge. So one of the classic ways that we kind of talk about this is actually in a test that is performed. So a lot of people are probably familiar with the timed up and go, right? It's a very common test. How much time does it take you to stand up out of a chair, walk 10 feet to a line, turn around, come back and sit down? And you do it at your normal pace. And that's a good marker of gait speed. But then you do it again and you say, okay, I want you to count backwards by sevens, starting at 100 while you walk. So now they're having to think, okay, 100, what's minus 793? What's my 86? And they have to count backwards while they do it. And what evidently happens is they slow down their gait speed because they're thinking now.
Uh-huh.
But that's the real life stuff, right? And
Yeah.
so the goal of all of that is getting, so challenging people, just like we do with physical exercise, right? It's not too hard. It's not too easy. It's kind of just right to be a challenge where they can be successful, but it's hard to be successful. There's some errors. We challenge the body and the brain very similarly in that. So I could give you a task cognitively that's just way too hard for you, right? And now you're just frustrated. But I could
Yeah.
also do something that's too easy. And then you're like, this
Yeah.
doesn't challenge me at all. So
Right.
this is where the individualization comes in, of trying to find these activities that are good for different people and challenge them at the same rate. Jane has probably experienced this because we talk about this in our course. You get any group of people together and you say, okay, now we're going to do kind of some brain challenges, and we're going to do some numbers or math, and what people will automatically go, nope, nope, not me, I'm out. Like, I don't do numbers, right? They immediately shut down when you give
Yeah.
that sort of challenge. So again, it's no good. So
Oh, you're talking
anytime you
about me,
can,
huh? Okay.
so that's the type of what we call cognitive motor dual tasking that is kind of preeminent. Now there's a second type, and it's called motor, right? Just where you're doing two different physical tasks simultaneously. And that's then becomes more a matter of coordination, but that your brain is controlling that as well.
So this is just fascinating. I love it. So how, as far as research of people of your program and your, your theories, your philosophy, your dual tasking, everything,
Mhm.
have you done studies on how people are improving and how it's all working?
I personally haven't, although we have a study that we're gearing up to do in the fall. So
Uh-huh.
based on the Marbles franchise model that we've set up, we are using a variety of equipment. We developed kind of proprietary programs for taking people through a dual tasking routine that's very varied, but also appropriate for them. So we've got a study in the fall that we're going to do, but all the studies that have come out previously, like if you look at some of the high-tech studies, they've all the equipment, they've all done lots of research on that. They've also done research on all the dual task kind of stuff. So there's a lot of evidence out there, and even for different types of populations, people with mild cognitive impairment, people that are normal, people with neurological disorders or not, right? So they're using this in therapy. It's growing huge in therapy and rehabilitation. People are now seeing better outcomes by overlaying the cognitive challenges on top of the physical movement. So instead of just doing the physical movements, they're starting to add this dual task component to it. And now therapy is really picking up to this, like, oh my gosh, this is for any sort of neurocognitive disorder or problem or insult or injury. They're showing better results overall. And again, we see that, like, there's a good study, just very quickly. Blue Goji has a bike called the Cyber Cycle, right? So you're pedaling the bike, you've got a screen, and you're literally playing games. And so you've got handles that you move up and down to control your character. You've got buttons that you're interacting. So it's kind of like a video game, but some go from easier to harder. Um, and so you're doing that. And they had a great study that after I think it was 12 weeks, it might have been longer, and they did 100 and some people, I can't remember, on different sites. And they compared to, all right, exercise on the cyber cycle or exercise on just a cycle, right? And they found that the results from the cyber cycle were tremendously significantly better in a variety of cognitive tests compared to just cycling, right? And so we see that time and time again. Rob Winningham, he's a researcher in brain fitness, and he just published a systematic review less than a year ago that he looked at all the studies on different sorts of cognitive interventions. And again, dual tasking showed by far the biggest magnitude of improvements across the
Mm-hmm.
board. So yeah, there's
Yeah.
a lot of evidence, and it keeps growing.
Yeah. How could it not, from what you're saying, I mean, I know it's different than the movement, like the more you do delt work, you're going to get
Right.
better, more reps, more weight and all that. And it's different, but it's a similar analogy. The more you practice it, the more you're going to get better at it. Am I right on that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Okay. There's hope, in other words, for me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes, definitely.
Okay. So do you have specific testing you're using in your program? And you kind of touched on it already, but you have specific testing that,
Yeah,
you know, you'll be talking about in your brain test,
we
in your
will, yeah.
brain.
We'll look at
Yeah.
because you're doing brain body, you need to have to have a good understanding of what they're able to physically do and
Mm-hmm.
what they're able to cognitively do, right? Those are kind of the two components because I can't tell you to do some sort of cognitive challenge while you're standing on one leg if you can't stand on one leg, right?
Yeah.
So that's
Right.
so we just get a kind
Yeah.
of an understanding of what their physical capabilities are. So when we give them the physical movement, it's challenging but doable. And then we overlay the cognitive movement, the challenge is challenging but doable as well. So there's a number of different ways to assess people and see kind of where they are physically, but also where they are cognitively as well.
Okay. And in your course that you're doing for us on April 3rd, that I know you've done many times all over the country, all over the world, but um, are there a number of like how do you have like how many dual testing tasks do you have, and how many different like physical assessments that you just talked about? One of them is standing on one foot. Like, can you give us an idea of how many you're going to be going over?
Just a few. Yeah, we just go over a few because it's you
Can't
need to
handle
kind
much.
of
Yeah.
yeah, it's so big, right? There's so many
Yeah.
things you could do. So I just break it down to say here are some that work well. Like I mean, literally, if you look at some of the senior fitness test battery measures, right? 30-second chair stand and timed up and go and or a 4-stage balance test. I mean, all that's really helpful to get a good idea of where this person is physically. And then from the cognitive perspective, there's a number of very quick screens that you can use. You just have to become familiar with them and that they've all been validated. But those help you to get a good understanding of, all right, where is this person? Are they ranking up here at what we call high normal? Are they kind of mid normal? Or they look like they're starting to have some cognitive impairment? Am I worried because now, wow, they're screening kind of down in the you might have dementia range? Well, how you approach those people is going to differ quite a bit depending on how they score out.
Yeah. You know, I was going to save this for the end of the show, but since we're talking about what you're doing in the 4-hour course, obviously there's so much more. So this course at Fitness Fest, that of course you've done many times elsewhere as well. They can also, this is a pre-cert, and then there's a lengthy, like what's the after? Like there's an exam, and well, you tell me
Right.
what's
So
after
you
that?
you
What can they
you
do? What can they choose to do after if they want
yeah.
to?
So if you come to the workshop, then you just kind of get what's there in the workshop. And normally we do this in an 8-hour workshop. So we're doing it in an abbreviated time frame. So it's really going to be we got to move, right? We're going to move through some stuff, which means we can't get to some of the details kind of along the way. There are a lot of background information. So you can take the online course, which will then go into a lot more detail about some of those specific components, um, and kind of walk you through all that and give you access to some resources that are really helpful. And you just do that once you go through the workshop, then you can add the online complete certification. Now you can get certified instead of just having a certificate of attendance.
Yeah, right. So both will be valuable and important.
Mhm.
And of course, I mean, I have Fitness Fest Conference and Expo, 28th year, and I believe in in-person events, and they're going to get to feel it, you know, in your course. But obviously, there's so much more that they'll be able to do if they want to, you know,
Yeah.
want to
Well, this
extend
is
and
what
take.
we've done like with the functional aging specialist workshop that's just been
Yeah,
so awesome is you can go through the online stuff. There's so much more detail and depth and that you can get to, but you do the live workshop and now we're doing it, right? And you're
yeah,
asking questions and we can,
right.
go down
Interactive and
different pathways depending on the group. So you get a lot more personalized experience plus the practical hands-on practice.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and speaking of Dan, of course, Dan Ritchie, the other co-founder of FAI Functional Aging Institute, will be doing his pre-cert that afternoon after you. I forget what time it is, but 1 to 4. 1 to 4. 2, 3, 4. No, there must be another hour in there somewhere. I just counted on my fingers, told you not to make me do math, but it's 4. 1 to 5? I think it's 1 to 5. Anyway, it's online we'll put the website in there. Still time to sign up for both of them or for Fitness Fest. So, okay, so I'm looking at my questions. is there anything else about what assessments will assist us as professionals to help those people with decline? I think we've touched on it, but is there
Yeah,
anything
we'll
else?
cover that in the workshop.
Yeah, so before we go any further, someone probably has a question. So this is why we love, there's a lot of you that are live right now. So I'd love to hear from somebody, ask Cody a question or have a comment, have some feedback.
If I don't know the answer, I'll make it up, okay? Just so you know.
Yeah, that's my line too. No? So I'm gonna, Jan, why don't you unmute yourself? And so Jan has been working, she, like I mentioned, she took Cody's certification last summer. She's taking it again because she's just wants to know everything she can. She's just really wants to help people. She's got a passion for teaching. She's been teaching for several decades. And she has a passion for this for brain fitness and brain health. And she's working in the trenches right now, and looking to get more instructors to work with her and to mentor under her. And so if anybody listening, whether on the recording or now, let's connect you with Jan. But Jan, why don't you tell us just a little bit about the work you're doing here in Phoenix?
Well, like Cody had said, so my first class was at the through the city of Phoenix at the Paradise Valley Senior Center, but they advertised it on the group exercise schedule. So it wasn't an 8-week class where the same people came. So it was very challenging. So some days I would have repeats, but a lot of times we'll be 4 weeks into it and a lady shows up, oh, I had a stroke last week, I want to join your class. So it's been really challenging for me, but I am just having a blast designing the dual tasking. I mean, I get up in the middle of the night, oh, let's do the $100,000 pyramid while we're doing jumping jacks. So the options for dual tasking are just fantastic. And I do tweak them depending on the people in the class. So one thing I shared with Janice, you guys, I had I just ended that class. So when I say I had, it just ended about a week ago. Anatomy and physiology professor from Emerson University. He has Parkinson's now, so his memory is a little slow. And I did anatomy and physiology quiz as one of my dual tasking activities while we were doing, I think it was doing the box step, and his face just lit up. And then one day I had him talk about the hippocampus. I feel like such a neuro person. We're all going to learn about it, the big memory part of our brain, but he presented about it. So you really get to know your people and work with them, and it's just wonderful. But this is exploding, you guys. I give demos a lot. South Mountain Senior Center asked me to give a demo. The next day, the director called me, when can you teach? So there's lots of opportunities for this. And I'm looking forward to getting a refresher and getting excited.
Yeah, there are so many opportunities, and I don't know where anyone who's hopping on where you live, but Jan and I are in Phoenix, and of course that's where Fitness Fest is. But in the Phoenix metropolitan area in particular, we are like, there are so many 55 and older communities. There are so many retirement communities. There are so many just popping up all over the place. I mean, we are getting old out here, and we want to keep our minds and bodies sharp. So this is a great field to get into. So, but you're going to learn from the best if you come to Cody's course, April 3rd, and I'll have Miranda and or Whitney put that information in the chat, and we'll make sure it gets over to our Fitness Fest Facebook page, because we do stream it over there, so more people can make sure we listen to this. So before we wrap it up, Cody, do you have anything else you want to talk about? Anything else you want to say?
Well, I just want to reiterate the opportunity that's here. Like if you start now, like Jan is, because the awareness and the focus is just growing significantly. I mean, we're kind of entering a brain health era, to be honest. If you look at not only technology, but public recommendations, I mean, everything is starting to align kind of down this path. And so there's just a lot of diverse opportunities depending on where you want to go with it.
Absolutely. And you can go really far with it if, you could make a whole career out of just, just that. So that's great. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you in just 2 weeks. So the Brain Fitness Pre-Conference is April 4th. You can go to our website, fitnessfest.org/FF25. Go to Thursday for the pre-conferences, but Cody is also, and then again, Dan is teaching that afternoon, the FAI pre-certification. It's a 4-hour one, so it's probably 1 to 5, but okay, it's 1 to 5. Count, how many hours? And then you don't have to, with either of them, you don't have to get the certification, but it is, of course, they'll talk about it more when you come in person about that. And then on Friday morning, we have the round table session, which is a standalone session where we have 10 to 12 tables and topics. And Cody is also part of the roundtable, how to position yourself for success in the brain health industry. So he'll be speaking there. And then strength and power training for functional longevity at 10:25 on Friday morning. And I mentioned that out of all the, I don't know how many workshops we have, 40, 50 over the Friday, Saturday, Sunday weekend. His is the most popular. And we're going to have, if it were up to my team, they would say, there's too many people. We got to close it. We got to sell out. But what my team knows, no, bring them on, stuff them in there. If that's what they want, that's what they're going to get.
That's right.
If they want to see Cody, they're going to get it. So, so I don't remember how many are in there, but I think we've got 70 or so, right? 60, 70. So, and definitely the top number. So you're very popular. And then that afternoon, corrective exercise to improve balance, which is also a fabulous course. That one's got a lot of people in it too. So 81. Woo! Don't tell Christina. She's the one. No, we don't have enough room. You're with me, right, Cody?
Absolutely.
Shove 'em in there,
Cram 'em
right?
in. Yeah.
Bring them on. So, let's see. Anything else? Any questions from anybody? Well, this is great, Cody. We are looking forward to seeing you. Thank you so much for your time and your expertise. And thank you everybody for hopping on. Thank you, Jan, for pitching in there. Good to see you. Take care of that shoulder. Good to see you, Susie. Good to see you, everybody. We're going to sign off. Thank you so much. Have a good
Thank
weekend,
you.
everybody.
See ya.
Bye.